Good morning, dear students. Welcome to our today's lecture, Unit 7, called Microeconomics and Macroeconomics, Theoretical Aspects and Research Topics. We have three topics. First is our aspect of macro and macroeconomics. Topic 2, the difference between macroeconomics and microeconomics. And 3, aspect of microeconomy and macroeconomics, modeling and policy. So we have some key words and terms, mainly our keywords concerning the concept of microeconomics and macroeconomics. That is salary, for example, interest rate, annual percentage, average product, average revenue, budget set, constant returns, factors of production, technology, demand function, equilibrium, excess demand, excess supply, fixed and input, given goods, income effect, and so on, and so on, and so on. Mainly, I please you to take note to understand the context of the use of these keywords, okay? Now, it's very important for us today to check the keywords concerning only economic analysis and the macroeconomic analysis. That is, for example, the theory of consumer, theory of producer, theory of market, and so on. And the concept of national income, mainly GDP, normal GDP, real GDP, economic growth, and so on, and so on. According to the aims, the objectives, and the learning outcome of our today's unit, we have mainly the introduction of types of market. That is, we already studied in our previous lectures. I please you to show carefully the material of today's presentation and to show the vocabulary and key terms of our today's lesson. Now, I please you to underline the understanding of the contents of micro and macroeconomics as sciences. Now, according to the references, we have a basic one, but I want to recommend you to use the material posted by Rashmi, okay? That is very, very important material for the understanding of our today's lesson. That is Gujarati Rashmi. I think that is an Indian researcher. So, let's begin with our today's lesson. Topic 1. Aspects of micro and macroeconomics. You see, in our first lecture, we came to told about it. We already told about it. We give some definition of what is economics, and we said that economics have two parties, two main parties, mainly microeconomics, and the second one, macroeconomics. Now, the definition of microeconomics, that is a first part, a branch of economics, which studies the problem concerning individual. We can say microeconomics focuses on the study of individual economic units and specific markets such as mainly automobile or which market. Macroeconomics focuses or addresses the functioning of economic system as a whole. For example, economic of country, economic system of country. Okay? I want to say it does not focus on specific industry. No. I want to say about the economy of country as a whole. Okay? You can say that's the economy of country, simply economy of country, but in another case, we must say it about macroeconomics. Yes, I see. There are small difference between macroeconomics and the economy of country. Let's do it step by step. When we are going to study macroeconomics, we need to underline the macroeconomics analysis, the decisions of individuals and companies, while the macroeconomics studies decisions taken by the countries or government of country. You see a small difference between macroeconomics and macroeconomics. Yes, the difference between both sciences is the aims or the objectives, study objective of above sciences. We say that there are differences between macroeconomics and microeconomics. Although sometimes it may be difficult to separate them. Okay, it's very difficult because when we are going to say about the economy of country, we must state, okay, we have economy of industrial units, economy of non-industrial units, commerce or trades, and so on. But microeconomics concern with individual behavior, okay, individual behavior of an enterprise to know, for example, the volume of production that maximizes profit for an enterprise. In particular, the macroeconomics focuses on supply and demand, for example, okay, pricing and production in individual markets. You see, the microeconomics studies, okay, for example, individual behavior, we always say, and the behavior of enterprise, producer behavior. You see? And the questions concerning price making, production opportunities, and so on, that is the aims of microeconomics. Now, macroeconomics, with a difference to micro, focuses the study of the economy of country, mainly studying gross domestic product, for example, a question of inflation, a question of deflation, the question of unemployment, and so on and so on. Okay, you see the difference. For example, when in the microeconomic analysis, we are going to study the question of price making. Okay, for example, the price of goods and services. Macroeconomy will study, okay, price making only about the country as a whole. We have small differences. Price making and the price of, for example, goods and services. So, but let's to ask a question, and we must find a concrete answer to this question. What are the differences or similarities between the above parts of economics? Now, I please you to read carefully the next. For example, when we are going to see the question of production of goods or services in the country, we must use the concept of national product or national production. But to check the amount of money created in the country, we are going to use the concept of GDP, gross domestic product. That is the quantity of goods and services produced in the country during a period of time 1 year. Okay? In the period of time 1 year, what is the amount of money, okay, amount of money of produced commodities, goods and services. Now, we use the concept of GDP, gross domestic product. But when we take only the price of one unit, okay, for example, a price of bread only in the concerned market. Now we are going to use the concept of microeconomy. Those two branches of economics are of vital importance and play an important role in shaping the fate of country and destiny of nation at the local or global levels. It's very important for us now to try to check the differences between the above sciences using a very, very small definition. Okay, let's see. The question is, what is microeconomics? We say that is a branch of economics. That's the first. That deals with the economic behavior of each unit of economy. Okay? The unit of economy, we are going to say that a small unit, a micro unit, for example, household, okay? That's a micro unit of economy. Individual, a person, or like a consumer, okay? And a producer, like companies or enterprises, okay? A market of bread, market of gold, market oil, and so on. That is a small economic unit, okay? Now, microeconomics can be defined as a social science which studies the consequences of individuals' actions, okay, or individual activities, individual one, okay. Now, if we see carefully, like small conclusion, okay? Microeconomics studies the economy of individual, okay? Economy of individual. In addition, that is the study of how resources and the price of goods and services are allocated and how they found the forces of supply and demand. You know carefully the law of supply and demand. That is when individual people need for some or something, commodity for example, and the inverse is that the producer, okay, the company and enterprises sell the quantity needed by a consumer. Okay, look, the main important element of macroeconomic analysis. That is first, macroeconomics is involved in the development of economic policies. Microeconomics contributes to the interpretation of capitalist economic nature. Individualists make economic decision, that is individually, okay? And we can say that macroeconomics helps to describe the nature of the economy of any institutions, and so on. Another element is that microeconomics is or provides assistance to business economics, specifically in the area of business or forecasting, okay, and so on. That is the main important phrases or definition we can give now for to show the importance of this branch of economy. Now, what is the main element of microeconomic analysis? Let's to enumerate the next. First, that is supply. The second is demand. And we know carefully that one of very important element in macroeconomic analysis is market. We already asked this question in our previous lecture. What is a market? Our answer was that the market is the places where demand meets supply, okay? The relationship between demand and supply, that is the market. That is the main object in any microeconomic analysis. The next element is the concept of elasticity. What is elasticity? Is the means of finding the nature of changes in the demand for consumer goods when supply changed. The relation or the interrelation between the changing of supply and the changing of demand we call elasticity. We have many types of elasticity, mainly price elasticity, income elasticity, demand elasticity, and supply elasticity. You see? The next element is opportunity cost. The financial cost, that is the best value alternative to services or goods that are an option for individual and enterprises. We call opportunity cost. The question is, why to produce goods and services with very big cost? That is no reason to produce commodity, okay, with a very expensive cost. That is no reason. If you can produce, for example, a first commodity with $1 million, for example, and the same quantity of commodity can be produced with $2 million, the reason is why. That we are going to answer the next. We must produce goods and services more and more with very less cost. The alternative of producing goods and services, seeing in the money we are going to lose, okay, the small one we call opportunity cost. Now we came to see some elements, very important elements for the definition of microeconomics. Let's to see the next for macroeconomics. We are going to say that macroeconomics addresses the functioning of the economic system of country as a whole. We already told about it. Now, macroeconomy is the branch of economic analysis studying such questions. For example, inflation. What is inflation? Okay, inflation is the phenomenon in the country when the price are increasing. That's the increase of price. You see? But microeconomy study only price of goods, okay? But macroeconomy studies, okay, the changing or the increase in the price, okay, around the country, inflation. The inverse, when price of goods and services are going down, we call, okay, deflation. Inflation, the increase in the price, okay, and deflation is when the price of goods and services in the country are going down. The next element in a macroeconomic analysis, that is national income. National income. What is national income? National income is the value of all goods and services produced in the country, okay, but plus duties, taxes, plus the amount of export minus the amount of imports, okay, that you call national income. Now we have a concept of gross national products, okay, that is the difference between gross domestic product, okay, and the participation in the national economy of non-resident people. the income of non-residents, okay, must be subtracted in the national income. National income, the income of all residents, okay, minus the income of non-residents of country. Now, we can say that macroeconomics focuses on trends in the economy and ask or answer to the question how the economy moves, okay, how the economy of country moves. Mainly in any time, the economy of country are booming, okay, are booming. In any time, another time, okay, the economy of country are going down. If you see around the world, many countries, mainly countries called under developing country, have a good economic indicators as a country we call developed country, okay? In many underdeveloped country, economic parameters are booming, okay? Now, for example, in France, in Italy, in Belgium, in Spain, many macroeconomics economic indicators are going down. The question is to know why. But now in our today's lecture, if for me not good to say it about it. But in our future, mainly in our practice, we will certainly, okay, answer to this question. Now, what is the importance of macroeconomic analysis? The important is the next. First, macroeconomics helps the understanding of how the economic of country are going. Okay? How many economic branches we have. Economic branches we call, there are 4 groups of economic branches. First, we call primary branch of economy. Primary branch of economy. That is agricultural activities and related kind or types of activities. That is agriculture. A second branch of economy, mainly we call industry. Okay, that is industrial types of economic activities. Okay, industry. Third, mainly we call trade, commerce and trade. Mainly that is a sector, okay, a sector of services, trade and any kind of related activities. Now we have a fourth one we call infrastructure. Mainly productive infrastructure and non-productive infrastructure. So macroeconomics helps to achieve the goal of economic growth, the high level of GDP and a high level of employment. You see, in macroeconomic analysis, we have a concept of economic growth. What is economic growth? Economic growth in the country means, simply to say it, when the economic of country are booming. But what is the indicator of economic booming? Mainly, the first indicator is GDP. When GDP are going more and more and more, are going up, okay, are going up. In the country, you see that, you know that the GDP is the amount of produced goods and services, And each year, first year, second one, third one, the amount of GDP are going up. Okay, more and more. And when in the country, the employment are booming. Okay, are booming. That's one of indicator of economic growth in the country. Now, macroeconomics analysis, the forces of that, the forces that determine the economic growth in the country. Okay, and in the condition we have economic growth, mainly anything in the country is going good. Okay, we have a stabilization of price. There are mainly no inflation, but you see the fluctuation of price, mainly in many conditions, is the result of a bad, okay, a very bad economic situation. If you have a good economic growth, mainly the price is stable, and many other economic indicators are stabilized. Macroeconomics proposed policy, okay, for the measurement of the control of inflation or deflation. Okay, we must use many macroeconomic indicators to see the level of inflation or the level of deflation. If we want to say something about the price fluctuations, we have three categories of inflation rate. We have first what we said, a simple inflation. A simple inflation. A simple inflation is the situation when, during a period of time of 1 year, okay, the increase of price not depass 1% only. During 1 year, the increase in price is about 1%. Okay, that is very good in the country. Good for producer, but it's good for consumer too. Why? According to the consumer, according this period, the income, individual income, changed more and more. Okay, increase. And we have a very, very small increase in price. Okay, that's good for producer. That's good for consumer. A second is galloping. Okay, inflation when the increase in price is about 10% a year. During a period of 1 year, we have the increase in price is about mainly 10%. We must ask a question: that is good or no? First, is very bad for the market, okay, and the consumer have a very less, okay, a very less capacity to buy commodities. Now we can see, okay, a situation when a consumer have some problems, okay, to consume goods or services produced by enterprises or by companies. We must note a very, very bad situation in the country when we have hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is very bad, okay? It's very bad because the increase in price is more than is more than 10, or in any case 50%. That's very bad. Okay, very bad. We have a very big price, or the increase in price is very bad. Oh, it's very very big. Sorry. That's the reason why I'll please you now to see carefully the objectives of macroeconomic analysis, okay, and note the difference or the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomy, and the contents of the above sciences. Macroeconomics analysis studies such indicators we already said about it, okay? GDP, unemployment, and so on and so on. Now, if macroeconomic analysis also developed models, okay, we have the same in microeconomics analysis. We have microeconomics models and macroeconomic models. The element of macroeconomics analysis mainly we call outputs, income, inflation and deflation, you said, unemployment, you said, growth models. Mainly, I please you, that is only for small information. We have a model called ISLM, okay, and any aggregate demand, okay, aggregate indicators, mainly national income, or the balance sheet, and so on, and so on, and so on. Many researchers told and published many works, many scientific works about this material. But that is material concern mainly not concern students of non-economic specialties, but only to show you the main topics we have in micro or macroeconomic analysis. Now, dear students, due to the fact that we know the small or the main differences between microeconomic analysis and macroeconomic analysis, let's to continue with our topic number 2.